Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome everybody, beloved brothers and sisters. This is Ihsan and I'm with one of my most beloved teachers and mentors, Imam Fode Drame. I had the opportunity to catch up with Imam on his tour here in Northern California. So it's a great honor to be with you again here, Imam. Welcome.
A pleasure to see you again.
Likewise, alhamdulillah. It's so wonderful always to sit in your company, Imam. And of all the teachers that are out there, one of the things that really is so attractive to me and that really draws me to your work and your teaching is your emphasis on character and akhlaq as really preeminent within our faith tradition and in the cultivation and development of one's spirituality.
That's right.
And one of the things that you point out, Imam, is really how the Quran is a book to teach us to cultivate and to develop character, akhlaq.
That's right.
Good character. Maybe could you just give us a little bit on that topic, character, and how it relates to the Quran, how the Quran relates to akhlaq, character?
That's right.
And why that is so important.
That's right. Barakallah, Ihsan. Barakallah khairan, inshallah. Alhamdulillah, wa kafa wa salamun ala ibadihi alladhina istafa. ثم الصلاة والسلام على المصطفى المجتبى وعلى آله النجباء وعلى أصحابه الكرماء ومن والاه إلى يوم الدين والجزاء. That is saying that all the teachers and the masters, they all agree that the biggest karama is istiqama. Or istiqama, akbar karama. That it's possible for someone to walk on water, to fly in the air, or perform different type of miracles, but is not able to be upright. So, in our teachings, we don't go by karama without istiqama. If somebody shows you all this miracle and he's not upright, then he's not fit to be an example and a teacher. So we need to differentiate between the true values and the transient values. So this some of these karamat, walking on water and flying in the air, are done by people who are not at all on the way of God. These are things that God pay you back for your deeds here, whichever way you want it. If you from your worship, all you want is to have karamat, God will pay you for your work and for your deeds. But so whichever way you want it. But those who istiqama, if God give you istiqama, God give you a good character. If He loves you truly, that's what He will grant you. So that is the best. Istiqama is the best sign, is the best mark of one who's truly of God, one who's truly have ma'rifah, knows God truly. So all the other values may be true, maybe not, but istiqama is impossible. Somebody to have istiqama and not be somebody who is not on the truth. So that is the first thing why I emphasize so much on character, because character is istiqama. Each of the characters requires somebody to be upright. If you aren't upright, you cannot develop any of these 7 characteristics. So they all depend on having istiqama. The second thing is that my emphasis on character. We said that the biggest commandment in the Quran is about character. As God says that Prophet ﷺ, فَاسْتَقِمْ كَمَا أُمِرْتَ. In Surah Hud, فَاسْتَقِمْ, be upright as you've been commanded. So be as upright as we are told to be upright. That's the biggest commandment. Every other commandment in the Quran is builds up toward this greatest commandment: be upright. So everything that we do is about helping us become upright. Ultimately, that is our ultimate quest, is to find uprightness and rectitude. It's a universal value anyway. Be it a Muslim, be it a Christian, be it Julie, be whatever you are. Everybody loves uprightness. At least ideally, every people, they love somebody who's upright. It's loved by everyone. If you have a beautiful character, everybody will love you. Those who share your faith with you, or those who don't. Because somebody who's upright will not wrong anyone. Somebody who's upright will not cheat anyone. Somebody who's upright. So this is where character being a universal value, and the Quran being a universal message, and Islam being a universal religion. So definitely it has to be a religion of character, and Quran being a book of character.
MashaAllah. I'm so glad that you mentioned these points specifically, man, because so many times when people are pursuing either the religion or the spirituality of the religion, the emphasis oftentimes, for example, can be on the formal acts of worship, on the external forms, and that it becomes equated with piety. And sometimes when you get into the spiritual environments, then it often tends to be about karam and visions and unveilings. And so people equate these things with maqam, that this is an indication of wilaya. And so I'm so happy that you mentioned this, because I think that these are really both pitfalls on the path. And in the middle of this, oftentimes, akhlaq is lost.
It's lost.
Character is forgotten, which is really...
So this is definitely it's a very important caution for all of us, that we must make character as the basis of our analysis and critique. We should not go on the amount of worship people do as a criterion of the type of miraculous deeds that they do. But it's about, because the Prophet ﷺ himself, he didn't. The only thing he said, that God sent me to perfect character. That means that it's not about making more miracles than the other prophets. The other prophets had great miracles, but that was not the criteria. His station above them is based only on his character. Whereas Quran is above all the other books as well, because of it's a book of character. So as Aisha said, Quran, that his character was Quran. So he was an embodiment of the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So as I said earlier, we need to change the way we look at spirituality. It's not about being eccentric, or being superhuman, or being it's simply about just being upright. Yes. Yeah.
So you're doing this book tour, Imam, and your latest book, the Book of Love, the Tree of Love.
Tree of Love, yes.
So I was just started reading it the other night once I got the copy here, and just in the introduction, I was so delighted to see how you wrote that the importance of love, and how this is the fastest and perhaps the noblest or greatest path to God. Could you perhaps talk a little bit about this idea of love as the means to God?
So when we the cause, the reason why love develops between two individuals is the primary reason, the primary cause is that they have some type of similarity, and there must be some type of identity between the two sides. two people who have nothing in common can't develop friendship, let alone love. So there must be something in common. They say that Sayyidina Sulaiman was one day walking and he saw a pigeon and a crow,
A pigeon and a crow.
Together. He said, this is very strange, these two. I don't know what, but there must be something common between them. Well, usually they don't get along, they don't go together. And suddenly he noticed that both of them have a limp. That was limping. He said, yeah. So there has to be some type of an affinity between two people or two individuals to develop love between them. So same thing between us and God. For love to develop between you and God, you must have some type of, you must resemble Him in some way. So, and that's what taking on His character. God is Kareem, God is generous. If you're generous, you will look like Him, you will have affinity with Him, and He will love you. God is magnanimous, Halim. If you are Halim, certainly you have something in common with God. So this is where the importance of character can be. Because these characters are actually the characters of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we try to embody. When we say God's word, of course, of His character as well. So this is the easiest way to get to God, is by embodying His qualities, which engenders love. And once He loves you, then His mercy is written for you, and His good pleasure as well. And once His mercy, once He loves you, He gives you complete access. I mean, there's no more judgment, there's no more calculation between you and God. And God gives you freely as you give yourself freely to unto God. Yeah. So this is the easiest way to get into God than the way of trying to do it so by extra worship, by extra devotion. This is a very difficult way, and does not lead you to love.
Right.
Yeah.
There are those that can be worshiping God, but in fact very far from His
very, very far
love and presence.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The imagery of the tree is often mentioned in the Quran, and so you've titled the book that you've just published, "The Tree of Love." What is the tree of love?
Yes. This is a tree is a very common similitude, common imagery that God uses in the Quran a lot. The tree, God uses certain features in creation to convey the image of things perishable or imperishable, and the tree is one of them. God could have used like a mountain as an imagery for love. The mountain is a big creation of Allah. That also some connects the heaven to the earth, just like the trees do. Except that life in a tree is a symbol of life to begin with. Wherever you see something green, it's a sign that God's rahmah is close to, because the green is a sign of life. Wherever you see green, there's a life. So God uses the tree as a symbol for His own word. مثل كلمة طيبة كشجرة طيبة. So the likeness of a good word. It's like a good tree. أصلها ثابت وفرعها في السماء. It is grounded in the soil and it rises up high into the sky. So a tree is multi-dimensional, even though it's as humble has its roots in the dust.
Mm.
Love, the love of God for a human being has both sides. It has one side, is humility. One side is glory. It's a combination of both. God's love for us has both sides, but the tree, no matter how tall the branches are, must never forget that the roots are the source, are the foundation, and those roots always remain in the mud. And that's why. So human beings, us also, are like a tree, because we are from the mud. We come from the mud, water, and dust and clay, and that's where our growth begins. So no matter how much we rise up, we should never forget our beginning.
So perhaps it could be said that the deeper one's roots are in humility.
Humility,
The greater the ascent.
the greater the ascent.
Mashallah.
Exactly.
Mashallah.
So you grow both ways. You grow more humble, and you grow more glorious.
Allah.
Yes.
Beautiful. SubhanAllah.
Yeah.
And so the tree of love, again, love being the bridge
Mm-hmm.
between the human being and the Creator. What are some of the mistakes perhaps that people make in this journey towards God and seeking to reach to Him that prevents them from His love?
So I think the most of the biggest obstacle usually for many people on the path is that the beginning was not, it's not well started.
Mm.
So as they say that if the endings depend on the beginnings, if the beginning is right, is solid, then the ending also will be solid. If the beginning is not solid, then we'll always have a shaky ending. So it's always important that we take care of the beginning. And the beginning is, so we just talk about the roots being in the dust, being in the mud. The beginning is called adab. Yeah, it's called adab, having good manners and good conduct. This is the soil. This is on which everything can grow well. So we have the idea of dwarf. Dwarf means weakness, but also means to multiply. So these are the most of the Arabic language. Something that is weak is something that is also has the ability to grow and multiply. That's called dwarf. So weakness is a strength and at the same time. So the more we saw we express the counter qualities of God. So God's quality is majesty, and we take humility. God's quality is strength, and we take weakness. So the more because we cannot compete with God in His qualities. So we have to take the opposite of His qualities, and the more we do that, the more we are able to embody His qualities. So it goes by negation. So most people at the beginning, this is where usually they start the journey wrong. They began from the point from a place of strength, and they think that that's the way to get to God. You don't get to God by exhibiting things that are not inherently in you. Inherently as we are created weak, inherently as we are created humble. So this is what is us. And that's the only way, by through your fitrah, you can get to God. But if you change your fitrah, then you're going to get to God. Yeah. So this is where the biggest mistake many people make at the beginning, and they struggle all along the path.
Right.
Yeah. So you have to go back again and start from the very beginning and start properly.
In many ways, almost like returning to the innocence of youth, childhood.
Or fitrah, yes.
Fitrah.
Exactly.
If you have time, Imam, there's one other topic maybe I'll just perhaps ask you about.
Sure.
And related to this, but at the same time, a little different application in the sense that, so here in the United States, you've been traveling, and of course we see the news, and sort of what's happening in the modern world, this increasing polarization and divide between people along every possible line and identity. And we know in Islam that Allah Almighty has created us different nations, different tribes, saying so that we may come to know one another. And I believe that has a lot to do with love, so that we come to love one another. And the way that things are going now, there's this increasing focus on difference. And one of the ways that this manifests is with regards to race. And so this increasing sense of race consciousness, in many ways attempting to, and I want to bring this up because it's such an issue in the modern world. And people think that maybe by bringing more attention to race, we can somehow solve some of the problems that racism has created. What is your opinion on that? And is there another way to transcend this altogether, where we don't even look at one another as, really where we transcend these ideas of difference and race, and we're just one creation, children? I'll let you say that.
Yes. Definitely, we cannot transcend this problem if we focus on the race issue itself. I think one of the things I often say that if you want to bring an effective change in the world, you have to focus on good. That means that the method most people use is to fight the evil. I think there's a longer route, and sometimes success is not guaranteed either. The best way to fight evil is to empower good. So pour your energy into good, into building what is good, and that necessarily will annihilate the evil. Yes. But if we just pour our energy into direct confrontation with the evil, the time to build passes us. It never happens. Quran reminds us quite often about this. وَلَا تَسْتَوِي الْحَسَنَةُ وَلَا السَّيِّئَةُ ادْفَعْ بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ فإذا الذي بينك وبينه عداوة كأنه ولي حميم وما يلقاها إلا الذين صبروا وما يلقاها إلا ذو حظ عظيم. That evil and good aren't equal, so therefore push what is good. So when they push evil away with good, so because they aren't equal. Definitely they can be equal because good is God Himself. So it can be equal with evil. So push idfa billati hi ahsan. Yeah. By doing so you are trying to change evil into good. And it does change many people who are taken by evil. We can change them back into good. So it says that, behold, by doing so, the person who was your mortal enemy turns into your bosom friend. Yes. Into your bosom friend. So that's how we are, those who change the world significantly, that's how they change the world. Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, his people were oppressed in Egypt, but he didn't turn that into a race issue because he knows that Egyptians, as much as Israelis, we are all victims of the same problem, misguidance. They're all in the darkness. So it's better for him to help everybody come out of darkness. Once you do that, then because these racial issues are also symptoms of other bigger problems. Those bigger problems is misguidance. Yeah, those who are oppressing, they are misguided. Those who are oppressed, of course, more so. So you got to bring an original solution to the problem, something that is beyond, these individual considerations. You bring a program, a whole, meaning that you change people in a more deeper way by changing their hearts, by changing their perception about life. And that's the most important. If you are able to change people's perception, everything changes. Because you don't have to change anything in this world. This world is perfect as it is. God made it perfect. You can't add anything on that or take anything away from it. No. But what changes is people's perception.
No.
So those who change the world, they change people's perception, and behold, they saw the world beautiful, perfect, wonderful. But as our perception changes again, we see ugliness, we see pain, we see so, and that perception changes the way we deal with things.
And what we focus on really is going to determine success or failure, and that maybe is the trap.
It is the
dealing
trap.
with evil is that we end up focusing on the very problem that perpetuates it.
Exactly, and that's what the Shaitan wants. He wants to divert you from your real quest by engaging you in a futile, dialogue, in a futile argument, in a futile. That's what the one Arif said, Gnostic, that if a dog is constantly bothering you and it's barking at you, it's trying to bite you, and you push it away, it comes back, you push it away, it comes back, he said, this is going to be too long, back and forth. He said, the best thing, just go to the owner of the dog and tell him that, can you just keep your dog away? And he's going to pull him back. But the point is that if just don't try to be, because don't try able to force you to speak this language, to force you to engage with him, and in such a way that to the point that you forget God. That's what happened in the past. And not forgetting God. And what's the point after that?
So we're again focused just on this world.
Exactly.
We're again trapped just in
back into this world. Yeah. So just that's a technique that we should not fall for. We should be very, very wise. Yeah. We should focus on our purpose. Inshallah. Yeah.
I know that your family's waiting for you for lunch, Imam, so I don't want to keep you any longer, but it's always, I could go on and on for hours if we had the time. And inshallah we'll have more opportunities.
Inshallah. I'm looking forward to coming back.
Inshallah. We'll definitely for sure visit you as well.
This time, inshallah, hopefully. I can come to the south, inshallah.
Wallahi, thank you, Imam, for making the time for this interview and reaching out to the community here. And we'll have links to your book, the new book that's out, in the description below this video, as well as a link to your website and the projects that you're working on, inshallah.
Bismillah.
Inshallah.
Barakallah. Ihsan.
Okay, shukran.
Hayakallah. Thank you. Take care.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.